Our hearing today is extremely timely as events are unfolding in real time in Burundi, a small nation that is often overlooked by the international community, including those of us here in the U.S. House and Senate. Many are familiar with the horrific genocidal violence that gripped Rwanda in the 1990s, as Hutu and Tutsi butchered each other in growths of ethnic hatred. Few knew, however, that Burundi was also going through a protracted Tutsi versus Hutu ethnic struggle that also amounted to genocide in the 1990s. Few knew that Burundi, without much fanfare and without the largesse that the international community showered upon Rwanda, overcame its divisive civil war and, following a peace brokered by Nelson Mandela, solemnized in the Arusha Accords of 2000, has sought to heal the wounds of the past and rebuild a nation. Today, however, this peace is under the threat of unraveling. The sitting president of Burundi, Pierre Nkurunziza, is in apparent defiance of the term limits set forth in the Arusha Accords and memorialized in the Constitution, is seeking a third term. While the constitutional issue is complex and unsettled, the rising political violence and tension, not to mention the roughly 160,000 people displaced and seeking refuge in neighboring countries, is easy to understand and serves as the canary in the coal mine. There are real problems, and again, we need to be ahead of this, not behind in trying to mitigate a crisis. There is a window of opportunity for action where immediate and sustained action can prevent the situation from escalating out of control. As in the case of the Central African Republic, over which we held two critical hearings in our subcommittee in the last Congress, timely attention and targeted interventions can stop an incipient conflict from metastasizing. Burundi is now approaching a tipping point, though it has yet to topple over. There is still time, and we in Congress have a role to play in sounding the alarm and prodding the administration to take action, followed by oversight. We also need to avoid the temptation to be penny-wise and pound-foolish, as several of our witnesses will explain. By spending a small amount to further democracy and governance efforts in fragile states such as Burundi, we can avoid much greater costs down the road and, of course, the mitigation of the loss of life. And I mean not simply by the dollar and cents expense, but more importantly, like I said, the blood lost and the lives shattered. In Burundi, the administration must do more, while often lonely voices such as that of Samantha Power have called attention to the need for atrocity prevention. Too often, the administration policy has been one, if not malign neglect, but certainly not benign neglect. We saw this, for example, in the foot dragging that accompanied the appointment of a special envoy for the Great Lake regions. In January of this year, then Special Envoy Russ Feingold announced that he was stepping down. This committee called on the administration to find a replacement as soon as possible, as the circle of violence was beginning to widen in Burundi. In May, for example, I stated that a failure to do so signaled a disengagement when lives were at stake. I was afraid that we would see a repeat of the administration's inaction with respect to the Middle East, where to date it has yet to appoint a special envoy to promote religious freedom for minorities in the Near East and South Central Asia, despite Congress having created that position last August, almost a year ago. I look forward to the comments and the testimony of our distinguished witnesses. I yield to Ms. Bass.